Okay, so I want to make it as casual as possible. Of course, we know each other a long time. And then I want to give it to you, the introduction. So the only introduction I want to say is Dan Doyle, multimillionaire business owner, experience in many, many different traditional businesses and now in network marketing. And you build one of the largest organization with the company you are at in the last, please correct me, 13, 12 years,
Nearly 12 in October.
12 years, and you build one of the largest organization. You are financially free, you are personal free, you have your time freedom, and you have your location freedom. And the reason I'm picking location freedom, because you are traveling so many different places and you have residency here, you have a home here. So I want to give it to you, the introduction. If I can ask you a question, is first, let's start about geographic freedom. Because of this network marketing, you have this geographic freedom, you have the passport, you have the money, you have the time, and you are traveling anywhere you want. But can you do the introduction about your background? Where were you born? What you studied? What did you do in the past? And then about the traditional businesses. And I want you to compare network marketing. And then we talk about the different kinds of freedoms, what you are experiencing. And you're showing a great role model, what truly freedom means when you have successful network marketing business. So let's go back. Where were you born?
Yeah, for sure. So, Zoltan, I want to thank you too for everything that you do as well. You're an incredible leader. You have touched the lives of thousands of people around the world. So I just want to acknowledge everything that you're doing. And it's a real honor and pleasure to be on this purpose-filled mission with you. I love how you greet me every time, whether it's a message or we just jumped on Zoom and you say, my friend. I love how we make friends around the world with this incredible industry. Right now, I'm in Los Cabos in Mexico with my beautiful wife, Suzanne. We will talk about how it's incredible to have the freedom to travel the world. But I grew up in Sydney, in Australia. Zoltan, I hated school. I did anything that I could to distract myself from school. I never did my homework. I don't think I ever did my homework in my entire life. And I used to distract myself from school by playing sports. I played many, many sports. I love sports. Rugby for 12 years. I did judo, gymnastics, aerobics, surfing, and then I got into bodybuilding. And I retired from that sport back in 1992 when I was 24 years young. But that was really the start, going back into the late 80s, early 90s, and me becoming a young entrepreneur. The way I grew up, my parents did an incredible job. I got two sisters. My parents put us through private schools, which I didn't appreciate. They worked hard. They had three jobs each. I thought as somebody young, that's just not the right way. Working so hard and living for the weekend, and then the weekend comes and my parents are still working. And that just didn't feel right. And the other thing I felt too was the education system. As much as I didn't like school, I hated school, I knew it was sort of a trap. I felt it was like a trap keeping me in the system. So I wanted to go out and become an entrepreneur. I dropped out of school in year 11. No other qualifications, no other studies, no TAFE, nothing. And when I dropped out of school, actually, it was a situation where I said to my father at the age of 17, I don't want to go to school anymore. He said, okay. He said, that's okay. I said, you made me go on to year 11 from year 10. He said, well, okay, what do you want to do? He said, I want to get a job. He said, all right. He said, you get a job that I like and I'll let you leave. I said, what do you mean a job that you like? I've got to work it. So I got a job with one of the big four banks in Australia. And I did well. I literally started on $4,000 gross per year. And by the time I left a few years later, I ended up on 40,000. But that's when it was like, I'm still stuck in the system. I'm still exchanging time for money. I'm there 9 to 5. And I went out to be an entrepreneur. My first business was in the health and fitness industry. And I sort of caught on. I got this bug. I didn't want one business. I wanted to expand. I expanded into wholesale in the health and fitness industry and then selling gym equipment as well. And as I'm expanding, I'm thinking, well, I can also get involved in other industries because I'm a businessman now. I know how to run a business. Once you know how to run a business, you can run any business. Long story short, there, I end up building between the ages of 24 and 44, 20 traditional businesses over 20 years in many, many different industries: health and fitness industry, hospitality, security, construction, motor vehicle industry. Employed about 3,000 people over 20 years. You know, if I look back, it was like I was buying myself a job every single time. So I would, build a business, sell, start again. Build a business, sell, start again. So it's this, linear income. It's not, what we experience today. So I had a lot of good experience there. I always say that the difference between being a millionaire and a billionaire was the mentor that I never had. I never had that in traditional business. So all of my mistakes were mine. All my success was mine. And thank goodness there was more success than failure. So I had a really good run in traditional business. In the early 2000s, Suzanne and I started buying property. We love remodeling and renovating and flipping them, selling properties. So buy, remodel, sell. And back then, I had no skills. I don't know about you, Zoltan, but I'm not a carpenter. I'm not a plumber. No trade experience, but I love gardening.
Mm.
And I used to kill everything in the garden with weed killer. And I used to put new lawn, new plants, new trees. And then, we'd do the property up and then we'd sell. But that weed killer got into my system, and a few years later, I was given some very bad news. So that was really the end of my being an entrepreneur and building traditional businesses, because at that stage I was in the fight of my life.
So you had a very, very serious health challenge.
Yeah, yeah, very. And I was in great shape at the age of 44 when the doctors gave me bad news. Physically, I had the six pack. I was fit and healthy. And unfortunately, I felt something that wasn't right in my stomach. And I went to the doctors and various tests happened, and I was given some really, really bad news. So that was the start of being in the fight of my life.
And this is how you get actually into network marketing.
Well, it started with 2.5 years of
Before that,
hospital visits.
before
Yeah.
that you also, but once you mentioned, I can't remember when, but once you mentioned that when you met network marketing first time, you had really bad experience and you were really against network marketing.
If you go back to when I was 19 years old, somebody told me about the industry and a particular company, and that person I never spoke to again because I was already in traditional business and I didn't believe in the model. I thought the network marketing industry was a scam. It's because I didn't have the knowledge. I wasn't educated. But I went through the 2.5 years of hospital visits where I lost all my hair and I was very sick and went through that time. And it was during that time, because I had to fire sale my businesses. I had 5 businesses. I got like 10% of the value when I got sick. I had to get rid of everything quickly and concentrate on my health. And it was through that time, not only financially we were going down, my health was getting worse, but somebody reached out to me about the industry again, maybe for the 10th time. But I was in a position where I wasn't doing anything. I was at home. I needed to try and do something to generate income. And it was really my first, it wasn't product based. It was a shopping community. And that was my first experience back in 2012.
And
When I was
how long you been running that business?
That business, I worked for about 2 to 3 years, and
Uh-huh.
I did okay. But it was a type of business where I'd call my friends, and because I had such a great relationship and rapport with people, and they trusted me because of the amount of traditional businesses that I built, I would call and say, "Hey, come and invest in this, and you can make some money." And everybody was just giving
Uh-huh.
money for this thing that,
Uh-huh.
unfortunately didn't end up working out. Yeah, so it was a good experience for gaining the knowledge of, what to look for in a network marketing business. And, if somebody comes to me now with what I know, and they say, hey, we've got this, we got that, I can see immediately how long that business is going to last, really.
Please tell
That's
more
how
about this. How you evaluate a network marketing business opportunity, what you look for, what you see stability, scaling, opportunity. Please tell me about this.
I think the biggest thing, Zoltan, the biggest thing, number one rule, I would never, ever, ever get involved in any business that's under 5 years old, because we know that 97, 98% of businesses fail in the first 5 years. So why would you work hard to build something that crashes and you lose everything with all that work over all those years? So that's number one. Now, as you know, I looked at what we do for my health. But if I didn't and I was looking for an opportunity, the first thing I would do, from my experience in traditional business especially, is have a look at the founders. I would be an investigator. I would go through them and see what their background is and see what their experience is. And then I would look at the executives of the company. And if all that works out well, then I would look at, okay, do we have a unique product? Do we have something that doesn't have too much competition? And that's huge. I mean, we're in an incredible position where we've got nothing competing with us at all. And the way I explain that, imagine having, in America here, they call them gas stations. We call them service stations in Australia, but a fuel station,
Mm,
we imagine having
mm,
the monopoly on oil and gas, and you've
yeah.
got the only business in the world. That's fantastic. So
Yeah.
something unique,
Mm,
something that somebody else either doesn't have, or there's, only a handful of people that, because I have people coming to me today and they say, oh, this business is incredible. People from Europe, and we're involved in this travel business, network marketing, travel. You're competing with everything online, the corner shop, the travel agent. I mean, what are you doing? I'd never get involved in anything at all that had competition or too much competition at all. So those are the first things. And then obviously you go through the compensation, because if you're going to work hard, you want to be compensated well. Then again, we're in a very incredible position with what we do, because we've got this technology that's here and we've got the comp plan that's matching it. And right across the board, really no one can compete. I always say that we are the only company or opportunity in the world that ticks every single box. And people say, what do you mean? Well, the experience of the founders, the experience of the executives, the experience of the field, our breakthrough technology, the compensation plan, the ethos. I mean, if you have a look at any other company in the world, none of them can tick every single box. But we
And
have
then,
something.
do you know the motivation why the founders founded that network marketing company? Because in 99% is money, 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 money. And if they are not making money, they are very easily making decisions to close down. And then we're gonna open another company. So, but our story here is different because they didn't come together. Hey, let's make a business. They
Yeah.
found something and they were investigating how we can bring this to the market. And they saw this only network marketing to bring this technology to the market. So the number one motivation, the root of the motivation was not about money. Of course, we are business. Of course, we want to make money, but the core root was deeper than just to make money. So
Yeah.
when today they make any decision, they make a decision in much, much bigger scale than just money, 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 money. So it's very rare.
Very, very rare that that's the case. I mean, if you look at our founder, he was already successful. Coming from Fortune 50, running some of the biggest companies in the world and being right up there at top level management, just incredible experience. So to have the ability to, say no to a check that would last for, many, many generations, to leave this as a legacy for humanity, I mean, that's big. Would have you done it? Would have I done it? I don't know, but he did it, which is fantastic. So yeah, we're in an incredible position where there's a lot of industries that are doing an injustice to the world. It's all out of greed. There's things that can help people better, but they take things in a different direction just for the sake of greed and money. And I know they've all got shareholders and these companies are big. And I'm talking about the pharmaceutical industry. There's many different industries that do that, the food industry. But we've got some incredible founders that have made sure that this technology, this opportunity is protected, and everybody is always going to have access to what we have. So we're in an incredible position for sure. Yeah.
So, going back to your traditional business experiences, you had a lot of experiences. I didn't have a lot of traditional business experiences. So, can you compare the normal world with network marketing world in terms of
Yeah. Yeah.
pay? You didn't have a mentor, you mentioned, so you had to pay a lot
Yeah.
of price to learn your
Yeah.
lessons.
Yeah.
But can you talk about that? How a traditional business owner living their everyday life, and we know all how a successful network marketer living their life. So can you compare the two world?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can sort of compare traditional business with a job. I mean, a job you've got to go to work 9 to 5. You have to be there. You have to perform. You don't perform, you're going to get the sack. They're going to fire you. That's it. Now, you can't fire yourself in a traditional business, really, but you have to perform. You have to work harder. It's all about survival. You've got all the risks. I mean, one business, I had over 1,000 staff. I had all the overheads. I had to pay them the wages. What I was paying was $250,000 a week in wages. So there's a lot of risk and responsibility and overheads. But that was the security industry. So if something happened somewhere at clock 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. in the morning, I get the call and I'm, out on site and checking on the security guards or whatever that may be. So it's 24/7. The margins, 8%. So if something went wrong, I can eat into that margin very, very fast. So I love the fact that we are plugging into tens of millions of dollars worth of infrastructure with what we do that we didn't pay for. And
Correct.
the company takes care of the orders, sending out the products, the inventory, all of that side. They have over 300 staff around the world. The global infrastructure is in place. It's incredible. We don't have to worry about overheads. We don't have to worry about holding inventory or stock. That was all a nightmare for me because I've done everything from retail to employing many, many people and everything in between. So it really, really can't compare. I mean, I wish I fell into the industry earlier, but I think I was waiting for the right opportunity with what we're
Yeah.
doing. And the other thing is, if I had a car wash as an example, Zoltan, which for me, a bit smarter because they don't do that in America, but had a cafe car wash. So people will come sit there and they drink their coffee sandwich, so make money from the cafe, money from washing the car. I would have to wait for people passing the car wash, passing trade, or a little bit of marketing in the newspaper, handing out brochures and flyers. And you are really in just one spot, one position, waiting for somebody to come.
You are limited with the location, definitely.
I mean, geographically, you're there on the corner of this street and that street in this place, and that's it. No one can come from the other side of Australia to get the car
Sure.
wash. No one
But
can come from
but
another.
with marketing business, you have the whole world map.
I mean, it's just incredible. If you look at, how many people have actually seen what we've got. If you look at how many people out there that don't know about the biggest breakthrough that the world has ever seen. I mean, and you look at the markets we operate in, 35 to 40, and if you look at a 1.2 million that have been involved with what we do and on this particular product, we tap into officially a collective population of over 3 billion people. So they're all sitting there. The thing is about those 3 billion people, Zoltan, they're waiting for you or I or somebody to pick up the phone and call them. So the great thing is, instead of being stuck in a shop or somewhere or working 9 to 5, you know what that's like, for the next, 50 years of your life, we can actually tap into and build into markets, markets that we've never been to, markets that will never go to, and we can have people all around the world. The biggest thing between what I was doing with traditional business and what we have now comes down to one word, and that's leverage. I always wanted to build business where I'm making money 24/7. I had security guards working around the clock. A lot of risk, a lot of headache. I'm up, phone calls, I'm out. But to build a business where you're making money while you're sleeping, and I think this is the big thing over the last 5 years, what's happened through the COVID period? The world was chaos. People lost their businesses, people lost their jobs, the world closed down. And through that period, you and I, we were thriving.
Correct.
Business just kept going
Correct.
up. People were looking for something to do from home. So one of the biggest things that I would say to people today is there's two things that are critical. You need to build a business where you can work from home or remotely and make money while you're sleeping. And if you're not actually doing that, if you're not building that, if you're sticking to the 9 to 5 or that traditional business, just imagine if there's another COVID or something that happens because we've got no control. And the great thing is about what we've got, the longevity industry now is worth $33 trillion, the longevity industry. And we tap right into that. Health and wellness, anti-aging, longevity, human performance, all of these things. And the industry is actually getting bigger. I mean, this is the next boom because people are looking at living longer, healthier. And the problem is, and I talk to a lot of people that either have no money and their health or no money, no health. But you've got these people that got money and they're going to run out of life before they run out of money. True.
True.
So, it's great that we can talk to people and educate them and help them to potentially regain their health, maintain their health, but also to create a life and lifestyle. So I know that was probably a long way around the first question you asked. If you go back all those years ago, actually, if you spoke to me, Zoltan, 13 years ago and said, listen, I've got this incredible product. I know you haven't got your health. I probably would have never spoken to you again. That was only 13 years ago. You know what I mean? It wasn't long ago. I hated the network marketing industry, but I can
Why?
tell you, because I didn't think it was real. I wasn't educated.
You thought it was a scam and misleading people.
Now I know what I know. I mean, they teach it in some universities in the US. Some of the biggest people in the world, Richard Branson, Robert Kiyosaki, Grant Cardone in the US, he's huge. All these people say network marketing is definitely the way to go. If you want to build residual, if you want to build a business that keeps paying you, if you want to work today that pays you tomorrow, next week, and for the rest of your life, definitely network marketing is the way to go. And when you've got that money coming in, week out, I think this is another conversation. It's important to invest that for that to make money as well. And I think that's what people don't understand, because if they get successful quickly in this industry, which people do, it's just like, the money comes in, the money goes out. Their lifestyle goes up. They get the watch, they get the car, they get this, but I mean, you got to be sensible about that as well, for sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Very interesting that network marketing was really attracting me because I was so lazy. And I said, I am ready to sacrifice anything, to do anything, to 2 to 4 years, not to work for
Yeah.
45 years or 60 years, the rest
Yeah.
of my life. So I said, I want to relax. I want to enjoy life. I want to travel. And I don't want to stop traveling, and I don't want to stop enjoying life because I have to go to make money. I prefer to work all in and do very hard work for 2 years, between 2 to 4 years, but I know that I have something in the back which is keep paying me when I'm relaxing, when I'm enjoying life and go out. So I'm very lazy, but we build a great business. Of course, I was able to pay any price if I make this. I want to talk to you then about the evolution of network marketing. I think Avon or Amway, like 70, 80, no, Avon, 100 years,
Avon.
more than 100 years, direct sale, goes by the company. And I remember when Amway came to Hungary in 1991, 1992, nobody knew what is network marketing. Nobody knew what is direct sales. We never heard about this. Everybody gets so excited because we see the hope, we see the free enterprise. A lot of people join without truly understanding the concepts of network marketing. A lot of people joined and start doing activity without properly trained. It was not really at the beginning, was not proper training. Everybody came, doesn't matter what's your background. That's the beauty of network marketing. Doesn't matter your background, anybody is welcome. And then we were able to sign up with a very, very small, little tiny investment, which I think is the advantages and the same time is a disadvantages of network marketing, that you can start with a very, very small money.
Yeah.
So I want to ask your opinion, how you saw or what you learned back 10, 20, 30, 50 years ago, and how is it changed today? Because with our age group, if you mention somebody in network marketing, still most people have a negative because of the previous 30, 40, 50 years in the world of network marketing. So what changed since then? Of course, social media is a big deal, but how you educate people when you meet someone, let's say a barbecue party with the friends, and somebody getting to the conversation asking you what you do for a living, what you say, how you explain to the people, where most likely you think most likely they have a negative experience or negative opinion about network marketing. How you describe when somebody asks you what you do for a living and how you see network marketing today?
Many, many questions there. Okay. So I'm going to just continue from what you said before, and then I'll come back to this because you spoke about working 2 to 4 years. Are you lazy? You've always said you were lazy, but you have built a massive organization through your laziness.
Because I didn't want to work for a lifetime.
That's it. That's the thing. People, if you look at some cultures in Europe, the French are a good example. The French want to work 9 to 5. They want to depend on the government. That's all security. They want to do that for 50 years. But that's the way the education system brings you up. That's how they educate you. So you've got the security, which is fantastic. But guess what? You'll never have the freedom. And this industry is what can set you free from the security of working 9 to 5 for 50 years. Big difference. Big, big, big difference. And this is something you can do while you're doing what you're doing to build parallel on the side. But then there's laziness. I mean, people just don't want to do that. I mean, they can't see. It's up to us to paint the vision, really, show them what the possibilities are. I mean, that's what we do. So just incredible that we can put a lot of time and effort in 3 to 5 years to set ourselves up for the rest of our lives. And the way we do that, and to me, it's easy coming back to just talking about, we get paid to talk to people. We get paid to network. We get paid to help people with their achieving what they want to achieve through what we have. We get paid for following people up. I mean, this is all we do. I mean, how hard is it? I mean, if you go to your 9 to 5 job, as I said, Zoltan, and you don't perform, you're going to get the sack. At the same time and effort into what we do. Many different ways to reach out to people. I'm talking to people on the plane next to me. I'm talking to them down the shop. I'm reaching out to them wherever they are in the world. You look at social media, reaching out to people through finding out, picking a target market, maybe health practitioners. There's billions of people to reach out to, and we can do it from the comfort of our own home. So there's many different approaches, and I think people have to be natural, have to be themselves. A lot of people are excited and go, hey, I got this thing, you need to hear about it. You can't do that. I remember you telling the story about the person that lived in the same complex as you, and you noticed a beautiful car and it ended up the driver. And I mean, that's a great example of what we're talking about here. We need to build relationships. We need to get a rapport with people. You can get a rapport with people in a very short period of time. And you know, the industry seems like this secret society and we've got to hide everything from everyone, but that's not it. I mean, I'm a network marketing professional. You're a network marketing. We're proud. This is a profession. You need to have certain skills, but you don't need to know everything. I think that's where people get confused. They think they need to know everything before they can talk to somebody. That's a big problem. Analysis paralysis. They're like, all of a sudden, after 12 months, they know all about the science, they know the compensation plan, but then they talk too much or they don't say anything at all. That is a big, big problem. With what we do, we keep it simple and we create the activity daily, not once a month, not once a year. How much you're going to get paid from building your traditional business or your 9 to 5 if you're only doing one thing a day or one thing a month. It's not going to work. This is a real business. That's what people don't understand. The thing that I don't like is when you tick the box when you open the account, you see hobby. No, not a hobby.
With the high intensity is so crucial in this business. And then I was just talking to somebody, and then I said, hey, if you want to do this, do a proper preparation, but don't try it. Don't try to, let's see, I speak with 2, 3 people, let's test it. And if it works and if it's positive, I will continue. Don't do this because almost guaranteed you're not going to have success because 2, 3 is so little number. Let me stop randomly 100 people on the street. I go out in the main street right here in front of my house, and randomly, if I stop 100 people and I ask the same question, everybody, I stop 100 people and I ask, hey, are you interested to become a chef tomorrow? Are you interested to become a taxi driver tomorrow? Are you interested to become an electrician tomorrow? I'm 100% sure I'm not going to get 100 yes. So normal that if you talk to 2, 3 people, hey, do you want to do network marketing? Most likely people say no, especially they don't have enough information. If they had enough information about network marketing, everybody would say yes. I can't imagine who is the person who said, hey, Zoltan, I don't have no more free space left in my bank account. Thank you very much. I have 24 hours and then I don't want more time freedom. This is impossible. People say because they don't believe in themselves or they don't go back to the example. If you talk to 100 people, do you want to be a chef or a taxi driver? Not everybody going to say yes. So don't expect that you're going to ask 2, 3 people and they want to do network marketing business with you. Most likely, no. But if you talk to 100 people, I'm almost certain that I guarantee that you will find 2, 5, 10 people who said, hey, nobody explained to me like this. I didn't see this in this angle. I'm interested. Teach me. So it's either you do high intensity or don't do at all. Because if you're trying with a small little, let's try 2 people, it's almost guaranteed there's no way. So if you do it, do a preparation, make a list, and let's go not think about anything together with your mentor to do 100. And let's talk after. Martin is a great example. The first 200 people said no. The 204 said, yes, I'm interested. He still didn't sign up, but at least he said yes. So now he's become financially free. So not to worry about first 200 no. So it's a big numbers game.
Young man. He's a young man, become financially free. It's incredible. I love to see that. I mean, Zoltan, if you're in your cafe and everyone's standing there lined up for a coffee, and I give you a coffee, you ask for a coffee, but I don't serve the next 3 people, and I say, you're not going to. How's your business going to go? You know what I mean?
Correct.
This is a real business. Get out there. We say it's a numbers game. If you're not talking to people, if you're not talking to enough people, you're not going to build. You're not going to build fast. You're not going to build at all.
And also what I realized, when you play with big numbers, you are so scared and you are shaking and you are begging and you are start chasing people. because you have small numbers in your
Yeah.
phone or in your list. And then
Yeah.
your behavior, your posture is completely different when you have 100 people to call this week. And then you don't get scared when the person said, "Oh, I'm not interested," because you know you have another 99 people to call. So it's so crucial to get that attitude that you go in with the big numbers and don't look with until you reach 100 at least. 100 is a nice number, I think. But yeah, but that's important. Okay, so network marketing changed a lot, but there's a lot of foundation and basics which still didn't change. Relationship. And we talk to people anyway. How are you? How is your new job? How is your new car? Hey, where did you go for fishing? You talk to people anyway, the people around you. And once you show seriously, sincere interest to other people, they're gonna start complaining also that, oh, I have a problem with the job. I didn't get the increase. And this is the opening opportunity for you to say, hey,
Yeah.
I'm not sure, I cannot guarantee, but I have something.
Yeah.
I have something in my mind that I want to show you. And this is so natural. Those people who are open-minded, those people who are knocking your door and telling you, hey, I'm interested in set up an additional or start an additional income source. That's your invitation. Hey, I have something. Let me show you. I'm not sure if you like it or not, but let me show you. That's
Yeah.
the name of the game instead of chasing people and trying to forcing people who are not hungry
See,
enough.
it's easy to extract that information. It sounds terrible, but to get that information from somebody, I can be sitting in a restaurant, Zoltan, and I'll get somebody, the waiter, the waitress serving, and I say, "Hey, how are you? Yeah, good, good, good. How long you been working here? Oh, 2 years. Fantastic. You like it? I love it." I said, "Can you see yourself working here for the next 10, 20, 30 years?" No, no. It's easy to, find out that information. Um, and I know we're heading in a certain direction here, but I think about just adding on to where this industry is going. The last 5 years, there's a lot of companies that have closed down. There's a lot of companies that have merged. A lot of companies were acquired. As far as what we've got, it's a last man standing situation. Not that they're all going to go, but a lot of them are moving to affiliate. So the people that built the business are losing their big checks. And you know that we are running towards the industry, towards network marketing, towards the model, and we've got an affiliate model within. So, it's making it easy for us to talk
Yes,
to
yes,
people about what we actually have.
absolutely
Yeah.
true. Absolutely
Yeah.
true.
I'll give you another example with what you're talking about, Zoltan. I went to meet a doctor here in Mexico the other day, and she was coming to the cafe that she wanted to meet me. And I'm standing out the front of the cafe, and I see this guy in the car park, and he was like, and I was the bodybuilder, and I said, "Hey, you look great." And he starts talking, and I said, "You're Australian?" He said, "Yeah." I've never met an Australian in many, many years here in Los Cabos. He's Australian. Anyway, I got talking, 5 minutes of talking. So what was the conversation? You're looking great. Showed him my bodybuilding photos, quick connection there. He told me that he's right into looking after his health. His wife is. He had his two little kids there. He's told me he travels the world. So talking about geographically, he can build his business while traveling, which is doing training online for people who want to get fit. And then we started talking about international structure and this and that. I said, "I just got my Maltese citizenship." He said, "I've got my Maltese citizenship." He said, "Turn around." He said, "Pull this down." He had the Maltese cross tattooed on the back of his neck.
Wow.
Connection, 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 real, real quick. You got to find something to connect as quickly as possible. So that went from 4 days ago to him being here until Saturday, the weekend. We had breakfast on Saturday morning, the day he was leaving, with him and his family. And he lives in Canada now at the moment, but he's setting up to work more remotely than they just stay in Airbnbs all around the world, him and his wife. Airbnbs and just travel
Crazy.
and
Crazy.
building their online businesses. So it's easy to talk to somebody, but you talk about that first 100, Zoltan, very important to go out, do it as quickly as possible. And they say practice makes perfect, but you don't have to be perfect to start a conversation or have a conversation. You don't
Correct.
have to be. The
Correct.
only thing you have to do is start the conversation.
And even not to worry if you make mistakes and it's not going to turn out to gold, because you can still go back to follow up. And I have many people said no, no, no. And the fourth and the fifth, they said, okay, I changed my mind. I'm interested.
There's only one mistake, Zoltan, that people make when they don't talk.
Yes, true. So true. Yeah.
It is. You talk something, something's going to happen for sure. I mean, I've been here for 3 months and we're going back to Hawaii and then to Australia and then to Asia. We're traveling a lot with what we
So
do.
this is what I wanted to ask you. Please tell me about your traveling. So now you are Mexico, and then you also have a home in Hawaii, but you go back time to time to Australia. We just spent beautiful time, Lake Como, last year or the year before, 2 years ago. I don't know how many businesses can able to allow you to travel so much and then have that kind of freedom. It's unbelievable.
When I was back in Australia, I had my businesses. I couldn't go anywhere. When I was in working for somebody, unless you get your 2 weeks holiday, we can't go anywhere. And if you look at the continuation of my story, when I lost my health, we lost everything financially. So we went from $1 million home to living in a van in the streets of Australia, bankrupt, on a disability pension, $150, $200 a week from the government, and almost going to the Salvation Army for food stamps. You can call that remote because we were living in a van, but not like now. So I said the biggest thing that I learned between traditional business, traditional job, or network marketing was leverage. But what that created was being able to work anywhere in the world at any time, to be where you want, when you want to be at a particular place. A lot of people talk to me about what we do, and it's incredible with how we travel. Well, when I first started to do this, it built quick. And the reason why it built quick, Zoltan, is because I made the decision to do it, which everybody has to do. It's either they're going to do it or you don't. There's nothing in between with what we do. I made the decision I was going to do it. I worked, literally put in 18 hours a day, 7 days a week, because I was like you. I wanted to do it quick. I wanted to have the ability to not just to be comfortable, but go beyond, because we were not comfortable with the position we were in financially. 18 hours a day, 7 days a week for my first year. Second year, I took Sundays off, 18 hours a day, 6 days a week. And I just kept moving through like that. Obviously, now, if I wanted to, I could sit on the beach here in Los Cabos and do nothing. But I think God would strike me down because I've been given this opportunity. I've got my life back and we're helping so many people. I never could imagine probably even just leaving Australia, let alone traveling 60 countries since I've been doing this, and I can't count how many cities. For the first 3 years, Zoltan, I mean, you're right up there, but I got to number 3 in the company in my first 3 years with what we're doing in this company. In that third year, I out earned everything that I earned my whole life in the third year. From that year, and I don't want to, this sounds crazy, but because I was in the position I was in physically, and the doctors told me I had so much time, I lived every day like it was my last. So I was in a position, Zoltan, like I was talking about, everything that came in went out. So literally for 3 years, we spent $500,000 a year on traveling once we started making that money. Now we've been there, done that.
Amazing.
3, 4 years ago, we decided, okay, we need to, because I'm 60 next year, we need to start building assets. So I started putting a plan together then. We're building a property on the beach in Panama right now. We've got other assets, investments in companies and whatnot. We are looking at property in Lake Como. We're looking for a property here in Los Cabos, Mexico. So if you go back to when I started this nearly 12 years ago, we had zero, living in a van, minus $25,000. And now we've got all these assets. around the world. We're building a bigger international structure geographically for travel and to be where we want anytime. Yeah.
Incredible lifestyle. I want to go back what you said in the first year, 18 hours a day. Actually, you lived your life in this business in the first year, and the
Yeah.
second year, six days a week. The found reason that your business today is so big is because at the beginning your foundation was huge. And then I have to tell you, I was extremely lucky that I met Malcolm in Malaysia. And then I met him, and then I was brand new in the business. And then I showed him my VO, I showed him my business, my PVs. And then I was so lucky, he explained me so well that Zoltan, he gave me example of building a home, building a house. When you start building, if the house is a small little cottage or it's one bedroom or it's a 2, 3 levels of 5 bedrooms, you have to know how big your dream house is when you put the foundations. Because if you make a small foundations and you find out a year or 2 years later, I want to build a big house, your foundation is not big enough. It's that important that you put so many hours right at the beginning because your foundation is huge. That's why you were able to build a big business. And then with the same with me, people asking me that one of the biggest problem with my leaders, and then I can say this in generally, that a lot of people go to manager mode too early. And stay leader is the first and number one. The quality is you do the basic work. You still keep doing it because you want to show example and leading from the front. And this is so crucial. And you did this very well. You realize this very well. And then you spoke with a lot of people. You sponsored a huge front line. And that's why you have a big organization today. Am I right?
100% the foundation. Actually, you just reminded me, Zoltan, because we're up on the 6th floor here in a penthouse here. I'm overlooking the beautiful Sea of Cortez right in front of me here. Every day we get earthquake and the top of the building goes like this. Now, if the foundation, if they built quick and it was weak, the building would crash, it would collapse.
Correct.
So strong foundation is very, very important. And I continue, even after nearly 12 years of building that foundation, that never stops. But the bigger the foundation, the bigger the building we're building on top.
Correct.
So we continue to do that for sure. I have not stopped. I mean, when you talk about setting an example, you and I, Mal, everybody, I have gone for, obviously there's a lot of incredible things besides the most generous, lucrative compensation plan in the world that we have. We have incredible trips and gifts and prizes and all of these things that are attached. Now, many, many times I've known, Zoltan, that I couldn't go to a trip, but I'll still achieve it because I need to set that every little incentive. The incentives that that we've got in cycles every month, maximum. So there's always going to be me bringing somebody into my business, somebody new, somebody frontline, and then trying to help them as quickly as possible. An important thing with when we're doing that, I'm sure you do it too, we put ourselves in their shoes every time. I think that's the most important thing when you're talking to somebody from that early stage to somebody coming in and they're saying, well, I want to do this, I want that, these are my goals, these are my dreams. I put myself in their shoes and they become my goals, they become my dreams. So not only you're still building that foundation, bringing people on, but you're working literally with them and with all their team and you're digging deep. You're really digging deep.
Yes. You have to find a balance to keep sponsoring front lines, but you have to find the balance to find the leaders in the depth and then leaders who is going to continue the same concept without you when you give enough time and you give enough mentorship to them. It's so true. I have 3 categories of people in my mind. The first category is the people who just started brand new. They just start literally now. They are less than a year in the business. They have no experience. They don't know what to do. We try to explain to them to stay very, very simple, because if you are simple, more people can duplicate you. But still they are blind and they don't know what to do. So they need a mentor, they need a coach, they need somebody, a sponsor who is helping them. That's the first category. The second category is the people who know what to do because they already built a small team. So they knew how to prospecting, they know how to sponsor and recruit and getting customers. They know all of these. And we have the third one when people build really great businesses and they have leaders. So now they have to learn how to treat leaders and how to develop leaders so they can grow without them. That's the three categories. I want to quickly just go through with you. What's your concept in the very first category? If you sponsor somebody tomorrow, please tell me the daily or weekly or the first 90 days, what are the most important foundations when you help a brand new person, no experience, so is completely is rely on you, how you help the brand new person. What's your concept? Like some key
Yeah. Yeah, so I think looking at all these categories and going through them, Zoltan, I think if you sort of step back, we are setting the example, as we spoke about earlier. We got to remember everybody in our team's watching us. So they're going to do what we do. You spoke about before going into management mode too early. What's your team going to do? They're going to go into management mode because you are. You know what I mean? So even with what we're talking about now, we want to duplicate those simple actions. And I keep it very simple. I keep it very, very basic. And that's what we got to do with a business like this. What I like to do is somebody that starts, I don't plug them into absolutely everything and then they get into that analysis paralysis. I want to help them to put one or two people in so they're getting paid next week. That's my first goal. So really hit the ground running really, really fast. Well, you've made a decision, Zoltan, to build the business. This is a basic script. Reach out to some people and connect them with me. So either one-on-one or I'm doing 6 presentations a week that people can bring from anywhere in the world, your team, whoever comes on, you know what I mean? We're all helping each other to do this. So I want them to get paid commissions by the end of the second week. 100%. That's what I always go out to achieve. And that's what other people in the team see. That's what they see me do. And we keep it that simple. So here's the script. As I come across this breakthrough technology, helping people with their health, saying it's the biggest breakthrough in health in a lifetime. I'm not an expert at what it is or how it works, but a friend of mine, Dan, is a world authority. I'd love to connect you guys. You need to hear about this. Or listen, I've come along something. I know you might be looking for additional income. It's the same thing, but connecting. You know, the biggest mistake people make is handling a conversation themselves with people that they know. We always say you can't be a prophet in your own backyard. It just doesn't work. And Zoltan doesn't just work for our business or the network marketing industry. That's everything. I'm sure if you go back, hey, tell me, when you're working on cruise lines and you were saying, hey, our cruise line, our company is the best, your friends, your family probably went on other cruise lines, right?
So true. So
That's
true.
just what happens. So we just the basic script, peak interest, get them to me, get them on a presentation. I mean, you and I can't handle every single conversation ourselves. I mean, I get people because of what I went through, even people outside of my business that want one-on-ones. I do them when I can, for sure. But yeah, we keep it really, really basic with keeping,
But
keeping
usually
people
you
up.
do a group, so a Zoom where you invite more people. So you tell your new guy, hey, this is the script, this is practice, invite people tonight, tomorrow, 6 p.m. on this Zoom link. That's it, right?
Yeah, 100% now.
So
So I'm
what
doing,
happens? The person comes and they said, hey, I like this. So what to do next?
the person's been on the call.
Yes,
Yeah.
so he was
Yeah.
on the
So the
Zoom
new
call,
person.
see the presentation, and he said, hey, I invited my friend, and he said he liked it. What's next? What to do?
Yeah. So obviously, I don't want them to go through and fumble and try and enroll or send the link and then they register themselves wrong. So I'd like to be involved myself if they're my personals. I bring you on, you got a guest. I want to help you, show you how to make sure. What I do, Zoltan, I'll put together a product plan because I'll talk to that person about getting the maximum results because what we want is for them to have the belief. It's about the belief in the product, if that's what they want, belief in the business, obviously, believe in our culture, whatever it may be. So I'll talk them through that. I'll put the plan together. And that's when I say, okay, Tom, here's the amount of product that we're going to start Steve on. You order this pack, put them on this subscription, and we're going to hold their hand for 90 days. We're going to make sure they get results. You're going to contact them every day for the first week. You're going to contact them every second day and just make sure you keep in constant. Otherwise, as you know, people just drop off.
Close contact at the beginning is so crucial.
Crucial. Absolutely. Because you can bring somebody on and just let them go and they're on the product. And then all of a sudden they think because they got a healing response
Correct.
that that's hurting their body. Or somebody wants to run with the business, but they're not getting the support. I mean, somebody wants to run, you're all over them. You're plugging them into, we had the 90-day blitz, plugging them into that. We had the launch of our app, plug them into that, whatever it may be for support. But, the ones that are, as you know, we're looking for people to depth that are moving, or you can see the potential of they're doing something, but they may not have a Zoltan or a Dan to hold their hand. But, we can't take all that ourselves. We need to duplicate that leadership as well.
Absolutely. So we have a new guy starting, bringing some people together, let's say, and in 90 days, he have a small team. Now, what's a strategy when somebody is new, but already build a small team, and how you help them to become a leader and how you help them to look after their team? One of the things what I seen that people get to the phase when they burn out so quickly because they are on the phone, and when the phone is ringing, they are answering instantly. They don't play with the kids anymore. They forget the spouse, husband and wives, because they are on the business 100%. So they lose the balance and then they burn out, literally. So how you help them when somebody has a small team, how to manage a small team and how to grow later a small team?
Yeah, I think that sacrifice at the beginning, like as I was saying, 18 hours a day, 7 days a week that I did to get things moving. You might be sacrificing spending time here and there, but that can't go on, as you said, that cannot go on forever. Because I mean, we're doing this to create that freedom to spend more time doing what we love doing. So when somebody starts building a small team, they've got some momentum. It could be after 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. I mean, all depends on where they're at and how many people are coming in. I plug them into, for me personally, I plug them into a WhatsApp group. So I've got the sort of bigger group that gives information, as you know, global.
Yes, yeah, because we edit the video anyway.
Okay, to the world. And so everybody's getting that information that's in that group. But what I have, Zoltan, is individual groups with individual teams. So I'll have
How many
a
groups you
leader,
have in your WhatsApp? How many?
about 20 to 30 just of those individuals. Some of those teams might be under other teams, but they're their own leader. And I want to give them special attention. And even some of them I'll have a, team meeting each week for an hour, depending on who they are and what they're doing as well. So they deserve that next level of
Mhm.
attention. And depending on what they do moving forward, depends on how much time of mine that they get, of course, because they're still not at the point where they're moving, but they're at the point where they could explode, depending. And that comes back to us as mentors, as leaders, to make sure that they're getting the guidance and support. I'll put specific information into those groups. They're for chat too, back and forth, whereas the big group isn't for that. It's just for when events on and calls and webinars. So I'm talking to these individual leaders and individual teams. That what I'm doing between those groups, and just say there's 30 of these groups, is I'm sort of creating a little bit of competition as well. Because I'll go into one group and it'll be this team that would have achieved this and done this and brought on this many people. They all have a name, like the Florida Flamingos or the Kangaroo Collectives, or depending, momentum builders. And I'll say in these other groups, the Florida Flamingos have just done this, this, and this. And that gets people thinking, and they're moving. We need to move as a team. So I create that sort of bit of competition in
Healthy
between.
competition. Well, very, very good idea.
Yeah, as the business is moving, if you get to the next category or beyond that, where we are, obviously, and you've done it too, Zoltan, we start investing back into the business as well. So there might be some little incentives from us besides the company, depending on who they are and how they're building and how the business is going. But Yeah, so that sort of middle level, they got a bit of a team. We start really taking them to the level of teaching them what leadership is
Uh-huh.
really all about and what it takes. I mean, being a servant leader without losing that time with your family. So there still might be sacrifice in there. I always say if you're going to church, 100% of your focus is that time when you're at church. If you're with your family, 100% focus is when you're with your family. If you've got a job and you need to create that income to live, 100% of your focus. But if you're building an ASEA business and you only got 10 hours a week, 100% productive focus while
Excellent.
you're doing that.
Excellent.
Yeah. I think a
Now,
lot of people waste their time, unfortunately. When I say waste their time, I love at that point, Zoltan, where they've built a bit of a team to recognize how precious their time is. That's an important part at that time. Because you can spend 2 hours on a phone call and it's going around in circles. You've wasted 2 hours with somebody you're trying to get on board. You don't want to be doing that.
now, with this group of people who they know what to do, they have done already, they build a small team, and then they come to a phase where they stuck. And then there are some period of our time in the business where we know what to do, we know how to do, and somehow anything we do, it's nothing moving, zero results. And people start panicking and they start creating the negativity in their mind. And then,
Mhm.
like a spiral, they are going down. And then, with the negativity thoughts, they try again a little bit here, a little bit there. It doesn't work again. They create more negative stories and they go down in the spiral and somehow they stuck. Have you ever experienced similar situation in your team and how you help them?
Yeah, Mal Sword talks about keeping emotionally neutral. You got your highs and lows. You bring the highs down, you bring your lows up, and instead of this roller coaster, you try and keep emotionally neutral. You can talk about many things here that people you hang around, those 5 people, you're either going to be successful or not because they're either going to be no hopers and going nowhere or they're going to be successful. But I think with what you're talking about, Zoltan, what I would do in that situation where somebody's like, they think, I'm not going to be able to do this. I can't do this. I'm losing people out of the business. I'm not bringing people on. Everybody's saying no to me. I think as leaders, you and I, we need to bring them back to what's the reason why you're doing this in the first place? Take them back to their why. Start them fresh at the why. I mean, when I'm talking to people about building a business like this, even though you and I are successful, we don't have to do anything for the rest of our lives. I wake up in the morning like I was 12 years ago when I had no money, when I was in survival mode. I wake up knowing that if I don't do something today, I'm not going to put food on the table. Every single day is New Year's Day. You're getting up excited about the new year and you're running on that day one of the new year. So that's my mentality, and that's what I take back to them when they're in that situation. Well, you tell me the reason why you're doing this is because you want to create that freedom. As a matter of fact, you told me you want to do what I do, what we do, and travel the world while you're building this business and experience other countries, other cities, other cultures, other food. Is that what you still want or no? So to take them right back to the beginning and literally start them fresh again. They've already got a bit of a foundation. And I always talk about that. Listen, you've got a good business here. Look at your subscriptions coming through. Look, you've had several enrollments in your team this week. There may be none there. Whatever it may be, there's got to be some sort of foundation from building a business. You're not starting from scratch, but I want you to think that way.
Excellent. Danny, that I had a training and then I was thinking how difficult to find that real reason, which I believe, or the new business partner believes that it's doable, it's realistic, that dream. And then their self-image allows them to believe that it's possible for them. So hard and so difficult to find a dream which is big enough, realistic enough. You believe that you can do this, and then is emotionally attached to you. So you really badly want that dream, not just like a fake dream, and it's urgent. So you are not go into the procrastination, not keep postponing the things. So it's urgent because the time is ticking. It's so difficult, but once you find it, bingo, you can rock and roll. And then I had a presentation, and the guy said, it's so hard to find that real reason, that good motivation, that good goal and dreams, which is I just described. But he said, and then I believe it's so true. Then he said, what is even more difficult, keep reminding ourselves.
Yeah.
Go back and remind yourself, or remind your downline, remind your business partner, hey, can we go back where all we started and what was the real reason? And it's so
Yeah.
true, reminding. Do you have any regular routine that you keep reminding yourself? Any mantra or anything you do regularly? Do you have anything?
The big thing for me, I suppose, this is one thing. Employees are scared of losing their jobs. Entrepreneurs are scared of having to get a job.
So
I would never want to go back to
once
working
once you taste
for
it,
anybody.
this kind of freedom and this kind of the successful entrepreneur lifestyle, you never want to go back to the
No.
job.
Yeah, with online, with what's happening these days, and people are scared and thinking, only those people that are doing online can be successful. There's the influencers out there, there's all those types of people. Social media is fantastic, so we've got reach to the globe now. But I mean, we can talk to the person we're sitting next to in the cafe. I did some training the other day, and I said to the team, I said, there's so many ways you can reach out to people. I said, you can go to get a coffee in the same cafe at the same time every week. You'll see the same people coming in. You're going to build a relationship in that 1 hour with those people. That's just one tiny little thing. You can get a
Exactly.
conversation
Yeah.
going anywhere. I mean, you can look if you want to target health practitioners, go online, have a look at, what they do. If it's homeopaths, naturopaths, longevity clinics, stem cell clinics, whatever it may be, reach out to them
That's my
directly.
favorite. That's my favorite because they have already a client base. They already build a trust. And once they falling in love with the business opportunity, what we offer, they
Yeah.
spread the words and they grow much quicker than a normal, ordinary person, unless the person is so hungry to grow. It's so true. And that's one of my favorite. And then I want to also mention what we need to build a successful network marketing business. We need a dream, which we believe we can do this and we want. We don't want to live without the dream. It has to be emotionally attached. It has to be urgent. We need a list of people we're going to contact. And then we have to work when we run out of this list. We have to keep adding new names to these lists. So we have to have the name list. We have to have this is our asset. And then we have to learn how to reach out people. We have to learn how to connect with people. We have to do presentation to sell our opportunity. But we are salesmen. We are all salesmen. I was the biggest salesman when I met Annette. My wife, she was a stranger the same day when I met her first day in my life. I was a salesman. I sold myself. She rejected me 4 times, but I went back to the 5th time, and today she's my wife. So I am, and all of us, we are a salesman. If you go to a job interview, you are a salesman. If you want to, so anywhere in life, you have to practice this. And
Yeah.
in this business, you have to keep practicing this and not to give up. So you do presentation and you learn how to follow up because most of the people, they're not going to jump on you and start hugging you. Oh, I was looking for the opportunity. People skeptical, they want to learn more. So we have to follow up. This is the part of the game. And then once people coming in, we have to educate them about the business, about the product, about the opportunity, time management. We need to learn time. We have to put time. If you don't put time, you're never going to grow this business. So these are the ingredients, what I just mentioned: goal, dream, name list, invitation, presentation, follow-up, and customer care, and team, and building the team, and helping and educating people, developing leaders, finding and developing leaders. So this is the recipes. This is what we all the time, like a rotation, we start all over again and repeat the same steps.
Mhm.
Then once I did the presentation, hey guys, one thing I missed out, and I just realized it, that so many people I taught all these steps, but one thing was missing. And then I cannot do this without you. I
Yeah.
cannot do this instead of you. This is
Yeah.
one thing is missing. And this is the point zero, is you need to make that decision.
Yeah.
No matter
100%.
what, no matter how hard, no matter how difficult, I'm keep learning, I'm keep studying, I'm keep practicing until I make it, because nothing and nobody can give that special freedom what this opportunity can give to you. You have to
100%.
make a decision. And somebody makes a decisions in the first minute. Rarely happens. Most
Yeah.
people make a decisions when they dig deeper, they learn more, they meet other successful people. And guess what? Most people make the big final decisions when they go to a big event.
Oh, 100%.
Is it true?
100,000%.
Please tell me how you promote a big event, how you make people aware. Without a big event, there is no big decisions. And I can teach you everything. If you don't make a decisions, we're not going to go anywhere. How you educate people or how you sell, you have to go to the big event. How you do that?
Yeah. A break, un momento, and I'll be back. I just need to go to the
No,
bathroom.
brother. I stopped the recording.
I drink a lot in the morning.
I'm glad you asked.
So, Zoltan, big decisions are made at big events. They say you need to be, we'll put it this way. And I don't like the cold. And I know you love it over there because you go snow skiing and, you enjoy winter, you enjoy summer in Switzerland. But just imagine you're with Anna, you're around a beautiful fire. It's nice and warm, right? Where you're close to the fire. What happens when you walk away from the fire? Things get cold, right? So you need to be close to the information. You need to be plugged in. Big events where you're going to get the belief. You're going to see and look the company in the eyes, the executives in the eyes. You're going to talk to other leaders. You're going to hear stories. So events are absolutely critical. Cannot tell you how many events I've been to, but my first one with a company back in 2015, which was a convention. And when I went to that, obviously hearing, stories and talking to other leaders and meeting the founders, the executives, for me, there was a little award, a little trophy, and it was for the business, it was for emerging leader. And it looked beautiful to me. And it was in a glass case. And I'm looking at it and I thought, wow, I'd love one of them. It's just a beautiful little, trophy, a little award. And I said to myself, I'm going to do this and I'm going to win that next year, that award. This is 2015. Went to the 2016 convention and they handed me that award in the next year. And so it was an incredible, incredible journey.
And also you get the Business Builder of the Year award as well.
2017, yeah. You've done that
Yes.
yourself? Yes. What year did you get that?
I think 2024.
That's amazing because they're rare. There's not many that's been handed out,
Yeah.
and
Among 66,000 entrepreneurs, you have been chosen.
yes,
It's a big thing.
yeah. And that decision, I mean, you spoke about your commitment, you spoke about Anna, you spoke about sales. You're a salesman to get your wife on I did something similar.
All of us.
But the other thing is commitment, Zoltan. So, it's like Bart Cotter, who introduced me. It's like him says, what if I said to my wife once I made the decision to marry her, what if I said after that, honey, I'm so committed to you. I'm 99% committed to our you know what I mean?
Be upset. 99%. Or you go in operation and the doctor said, I have 99%. You will be scared when, but anyway, it's either all in, it's or either 100%
Yeah.
or nothing. I
Yeah.
had
The
a
people
I had a business partner and he said, Zoltan, I said, what's your plan? And Zoltan, I have a plan. I'm going to quit my job, my traditional job. I'm going to start business full time, and I have enough savings that I'm going to be able to survive for 1 year. So 1 year I can all in. And then if it doesn't turn out well, I can go back after 1 year and then find a new job. It's no problem. I give a risk. And I said, hey, don't do it. If you think you have 1% chance it's not going to work, don't even start because you have zero chance.
has already planted that seed.
Exactly. Now, I get a great question, how you kill procrastination.
You know what? I always say procrastinate, hesitate, and it could be too late. Anybody that, I mean, if you go back, the thing that drives me crazy, Zoltan, is when people actually make a decision about things that they haven't been informed about. Somebody that finally makes a decision, but they procrastinate, to me, they haven't made the decision because they're procrastinating. So I think the thing about it may be the position that you and I are in. You're very much like me. You're black and white. You tell people how it is. I don't see it any other way. I mean, why fluff around? Why say, and trying to get them to do something? I mean, that just wastes time. You're either going to do this or you're not going to do it. So I think that comes back to, making that decision and the reason why, the strong why that they're doing it. If they're going to procrastinate, it's just like we're not here to convince anybody about taking the product. We're not here to convince anybody about. So you're only going to prod and poke so much about getting somebody moving. So I think we come back to, for me, an entrepreneur scared of getting a job. There's got to be something there strong enough to get somebody moving. But I think it's getting them out of that mentality of what they're used to, which how the government's trained them. I do bring that up a lot, would you believe? Because there's a lot of 99.9% of the people are stuck in the system. That might be part of somebody's procrastination because of that security. That friend of yours that said, I've got a year's worth of money. If it doesn't work, I'll go get a job again. It's crazy thinking. That's crazy stuff. We want to work with people that want to do this. I mean, the word procrastination, anything negative isn't in my vocabulary. I just don't, it's not there. So I'm
Yeah.
telling people the same thing, you know, a no, I'm turning into a yes. I'm chasing that yes. I've probably spoken to 10, 20 people in the past week. They didn't all say yes. I'm looking for that one yes out of those people. People come on board and they procrastinate. I'm like, do you want to do this or not?
If you set a smart goal and there is a date behind what you want to achieve, small goals, medium, larger goals, time is ticking. And if you keep reminding yourself, what do I need to do this week to achieve this in 90 days, or at the end of June, or at the end of December, or by Christmas, if you keep doing your weekly activity, analyzing your business, the time is ticking. So you can kill your procrastination if you see, hey, this much time I left, this amount of people I need to speak, I have to sponsor this amount of people, my team size, my group size has to be here and there. There is no time. If you keep reminding yourself every week, then you can kill your procrastination.
That's definitely what can counteract that. You set those goals and targets with them. I like to set larger goals because if they set a goal here and they get here, they're going to be very disappointed. If they set a goal here and they get here, that's going to be a good result. So, yeah, to move them out of hesitation, procrastination, even making a decision. Sometimes, a person hasn't 100% made a decision, but you can set those goals and targets, achieve something, which then they go, wow, I'm going to do this. This is fantastic.
Malcolm didn't start it immediately.
He took about a year and a half, I think.
Oh,
Yeah,
when he made
yeah. And then you
fun.
look at Ed Weens, and he took 5 years.
My goodness, I didn't
You,
know.
you look at Bart Cotter, he was told about this opportunity 20 times before he made the decision.
Yes.
Yeah, but the great thing is about leaders like Malcolm Sword, Ed Weens, Bart Cotter, they've got the experience. Once they made that decision, there was no turning back. There's no turning back. That's leadership.
Now, next topic is right at the beginning. Once you see the opportunity and once you see the uniqueness of this opportunity, you get super mega excited. You have little information yet. You are not a pro who knows everything about the business and the opportunity, but because you are so excited with that level of energy, you go out and you bring a lot of people in and your business is growing like crazy. But it doesn't last forever. We all falling in love and then everything is pink and then everything we are flying 1 meter above the sea level. It doesn't last forever. It doesn't mean you're gonna get married every year with a new wife. So how are we gonna teach and educate the mindset that that excitement right at the beginning is not going to last forever? But look, all the winners in the world, all the Olympic game gold medalists, all the football stars, they do the work when they don't feel like to do it at all. And that's
Yeah,
the reality.
100%.
So how you get this mindset in the team and keep reminding them, especially when you see people who were super excited and now after a few years, excitement is going down and the activity is going down, how you bring them up to do the activity, even if they are not as excited as right at the beginning, because it happens only once. But the winners are taking action where they don't feel like. How you bring that mindset to the team?
Yeah. Firstly, I never depend on anybody else to build my business. And I always say to people, it's not the other companies that are the competition. It's not those products that are the competition. It's not anybody in another team within this business that's competition. It's not anybody in your team that's competition. The only competition that we have is when we look in a mirror. So it all comes down to us. But I never depend on an individual, for me personally, to build my business for me. And I don't depend them to build their business for them. And I dig deep. I just want to touch on when I first started because I really wanted to get things moving. I had pretty good contacts, been in business for a long time, but I didn't just depend on leveraging my own contacts. So I'm going to come back to what you're talking about. But what I did, I reached out to the people that I knew I had people coming on board, but I told all of them when they came on, give me a list of the top 20 most influential people that you know. And what I did is I built their businesses with their contacts. So I would call every single one. I remember having pages of 300 people. And those 300 people came from, 20, 30 people that I brought on board, 20 people that I brought on board. I mean, if you get a list of 20 people from 20 people, that's 400. And you can say it creates laziness, but if I didn't do that, my business wouldn't have exploded because I found people to depth. So I just wanted to go back to the beginning, what I did strategically to leverage and tap into absolutely everything. Now you get these people later and they're losing that motivation. They're getting tired of what they're doing every day. I mean, for me, I've presented 20 to 30,000 times, exactly the same presentation. You talk about creating the light bulb, and it took 10,000 times before that was right. Every time I do a presentation, do you think I'm bored? Do you think I'm sick of it? No, because there's somebody different that I'm talking to. I'm changing somebody else's life, not the last, from the last 30,000 presentations, from this presentation today. So there's a lot of talk about in this industry, we do the same mundane things every day. I don't think that's right. Yes, the activity is similar, but it's always someone different. So I say to people, you know what we have, you know what it can do, you know its potential, you know how it can help people. So why would you stop talking to people, put down the tools? Why would you do that when you know how much of an impact it's having on individuals? While you're not talking, somebody out there is suffering. So we've got this incredible technology that's helping so many people in two big ways. I mean, that's what we're looking for. We're listening while
Absolutely.
talking to somebody because we're
Absolutely.
asking the questions and listening.
I think Trish mentioned that once she found out the truth about this opportunity, she felt like a mental obligation.
100%.
Felt like
Yeah.
I have to tell this to the people to make them aware, hey, something is available, which is incredible breakthrough.
I always say, Zoltan, you know, you can bring somebody on board. You talk about somebody having an impact like you. So you were there when you were first told about this, right? And I would I would think, knowing you sitting there, you're either going to go one way or another. You're either going to do this or you're not, right?
True.
Zoltan, you are going to impact thousands and thousands and thousands of lives, whether you do this or not. If you do it, people are going to benefit. If you don't, all those people that could have benefited won't benefit because you're not doing it.
I love it.
So I remind people of that every day, that while they're not talking, people are suffering. Yeah.
Oh, I love this. I'm going to use this from now on. Last question. Danny, we made a lot of progress. I think it's going to be a so great value for many, many people, this podcast. Last question, very common. Where are that fine line where the relationship of a sponsor and the new business partner, that partnership, that relationship is still healthy because how we can measure, or where is that line where you have a huge responsibility for a brand new person who doesn't have a belief, doesn't have that information. You believe more than he believes in himself. You want to keep practicing as a sponsor every day to wake up a sleeping giant inside of them, because all of us, we have a sleeping giant. But you don't want to force them. You don't want to chase them. You don't want to be aggressively, So where is that fine line that you build that relationship with the new person? You feel that you have the responsibility, so you have to keep following up because he or she knows less, and the belief is much smaller at the beginning. Then you know the story that it's a huge potential in everybody because we are all different person with different background. We have access to people you don't have access, so everybody has a great potential. But how you handle this situation, where is that fine line when you give up on someone, or where is the fine line when you don't give up on someone, or where you keep the healthy relationship that you are responsible for the brand new person, or that's his decision, that's his life, and you want to let him go? Can you talk about this?
Yeah, I think fundamentally, everything we do right through the business is exactly the same. We know when we are inviting somebody, networking, we know when we're doing all of that. It's all about being consistent and consistently reaching out and dripping on somebody till we get to the point of coming on board. We're still dripping on them because we're following up with making sure they get results on the product, or they've brought some people in, they've got belief because they've got some commissions that come through. So fundamentally, it's the same. So we've got somebody that's sitting there that could be, we call them a dark horse, the potential they could just explode because we know they can do it. But as you said, they don't have the belief that you've got and what they can do. So we do the same thing. You know, there's somebody there. We're just dripping. We're dripping information. We're dripping, motivation. And you're going to keep doing that. You're not going to give up on anybody. You know, it takes 8 to 12 touches when somebody at the beginning for somebody for the product or coming on board. And, sometimes that's 36 touches. I think you mentioned one It was the 36th.
I have my direct diamond 1.5 year. I can't remember how many times.
How many times? So somebody sitting there within the business, it's exactly the same thing. We're going to do the same. We're going to drip, drip, drip without putting. I mean, I'm not going to spend an hour a week on somebody that's not bringing on people. I mean, if you come back to us, the company, they're not going to put time and effort into somebody as well. It's exactly the same thing. I mean, whether it's in the field, the company, we want to make sure that we just, and it's just a matter of giving them information to get the belief. I mean, that's all we do. We feed people information in this business. That's what we do, and we're doing it right through the business. Now, if you pull back or they don't hear from you for months and months and months, it's not a bad thing. But I don't know what you do, but I keep my pages and pages. I mean, I've got my big whiteboard back in Hawaii. I've got my daily planner, always making sure that I know who I'm talking to, when I'm talking to them, where I've got them as far as information. Have they come on board? If they've come on board, keep dripping on them. So it's a drip campaign. Drip, drip, drip from everybody. Somebody just using the product, somebody who's really building big, because you're not going to forget them, and everybody in between. So it's like we do a product plan. Take this much if you're going through this, take this much if you're going through this, and then everybody else is doing this in between. It's exactly the same for the business. I mean, this business is really, it's not confusing, but I call it the octopus effect. You mentioned it earlier. We're doing multiple things at once. The 8 legs of an octopus. We bring somebody on board. We want to help and support them to get product experience. We're working on this person here and dripping over there to bring them on board. We're sending out emails to get information to clinics. We're doing events. We're doing presentations. We're doing podcasts. Whatever it may be, we're doing multiple things at once. End of the day, for everything that you do, coming back to you personally, just make sure it's productive, because like everybody wants a return on their financial investment, the big thing for you and I, for anybody building this business, Zoltan, is getting a return on time investment. That is the biggest thing, because I find a lot of people waste their time at the beginning of building a business like this. And I think Denny Robinson said to me once, you're on a call for more than 30 minutes or you find it's going nowhere, just tell them, even if you haven't, you've got another call. Get off and do something productive.
Yes.
So it comes back to what you were talking about, this person with so much potential. If you think that it's worth putting, it might be a situation for you and me, it's easy. Obviously, in the situation we're in, we might pay for them to go to an event or get them. You know what I mean? There's some strategic things you can do along the way, or, go up to your upline, Sultan, Dan, I've got this person, but if you can see there's something there, the minimum I would do is just keep dripping, dripping, drip, because it takes 2 seconds to send a text
Yeah.
or a video or a little bit more information. But it's important to keep your notes and don't forget anybody at all.
Danny, thank you so much.
My pleasure.